Buckle up. It's the law. We have all heard that phrase for years, but more recently it has changed from a simple warning to becoming more of a threat. And who is the one that's threatening us? The government. They insist on gaining more and more control over us individuals until they have us under their full supervision. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm against safety belts. I'm against the ones who say that a person must wear them. Americans are supposed to have the freedom to make their own decision. Our freedom is slowly being stripped away by overbearing laws such as this. I agree with any law dealing with people endangering people. The choice of wearing seat belts does not affect the other person, and it affects you. It is not comparable to drinking and driving or speeding, which both put others at risk. Unless your body flies out of the vehicle and physically hits another person, then I guess that would be damage to others. I don't see that scenario being too likely, though. Seatbelts do save lives. Advocates for highway and auto safety claim that safety belts reduce the risk of fatal injury to a front passenger by 45%. That's almost 50-50 chance of surviving. In a light truck, the numbers are even better for the seat belt by reducing the risk of fatal injury by 60%. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety, in 2004, there were over 31,000 deaths by motorists. Of this number, 16,000 were unrestrained. Those are the numbers we always hear on the news or radio, or read in the paper. They never finish their statements by including the facts about the other 15,000 people. Those 15,000 fatalities were the ones who buckled up. Obviously, seatbelts can help in many situations. The millions of dollars spent on testing have proven that. In most low to mid-speed accidents, seatbelts play a tremendous role preventing bodily injury. That money can also help stretch the facts a bit too. There was a study saying that the driver was 5 times more likely to die if the passengers in the back seat were not restrained. Seems to me some group had too much time and money on their hands. Besides their statistics, there is no hard evidence suggesting that rear passengers are dangerous to the driver if they are unrestrained. The phrase "seatbelts save lives" is indeed a fact. However, can you say exactly how many lives seatbelts save? The NHTSA thinks they can. They reported in 2001 that seatbelts save more than 12,000 lives. There is no true proof that a seatbelt saved those 12,000 lives without them being able to put every one of those accidents involving the motorists to not wear seatbelts. When a person is killed in an auto accident and has their seatbelt on, there is a completely different approach taken to the scene. The law supporters will make claims that the accident was so severe that not even a seatbelt could save the person. Those supporters won't take another look at the situation, whereas the casualty could have benefited from not wearing this restraint. In certain cases, there are times when the safety harness can work against you and be a part of causing the fatality. Well, let's say, for instances, your car is launched off a bridge into a deep body of water. Most people may experience some kind of physical shock and become frozen on impact with the water. The first reaction a person may do is immediately try to escape the vehicle that is quickly sinking. Once they realize they can't escape due to being restrained to their seat, precious time is already lost. In panic mode, one may struggle with a simple device such as the seatbelt latch. Those several seconds of delay could cost a person their life. I know this is just one scenario, but there are many other situations where a person may benefit by not strapping in. Seatbelt injuries and deaths have been documented in hundreds of successful lawsuits against automakers. There are many cases where defects in the harness have caused damage to the motorist. Since seatbelt use is a law, auto manufacturers have been forced to pay millions of dollars to the injured or survivors of those killed. Some cases were settled out of court in order to keep others from popping up. This law has become more of a nuisance than a crime. Seatbelt stops at intersections slow down traffic. According to the state law, an officer now has the right to pull an individual over for no apparent reason than just to check to see if their seatbelt is on. I could surely think of some better crime for our law enforcement to be concentrating on. It seems like lately cities and states are putting seatbelt violations as one of their main concerns. They're getting the word out on the topic just as much as drinking and driving, or even more than drunk control. Personally, I'm more worried about drunken motorists and drugs on the street than about if my fellow drivers are buckling up. According to William Holdorf, by law, a sane person has the right to refuse any personal health care device, drug treatment, or surgery, even if such refusal might result in an earlier death or an increase in medical expense. In that case, how are seatbelt laws different? If we chose not to wear them, then that may increase the chance of an earlier death. Seems the government has done well on finding ways around such a law. With the new craze of more government control, EDRs are starting to surface in our automobiles. An event data recorder is a computer device that is installed internally in a vehicle. The EDR can capture and record data such as speed, braking, and seatbelt use. This may sound like a useful tool to some, but it is just one more step of monitoring us. If this is allowed, then what is to stop them from having capabilities of installing positioning systems on vehicles that will allow one to always be located? Still, my biggest complaint is the fact that our government is infringing on our rights. I have nothing against people wearing seatbelts. They are useful safety devices for those who wish to wear them. I just believe officials have warped the picture, making people believe we must wear them. The seatbelt law is just a stepping stone for a more government-controlled society. If we don't speak out now, then we may eventually be too late. In the meantime, just remember, click it or ticket.